Hey,
Hi.
what's up, Sandra? All right, man. So teach me how to do this.
That's easy, dog. It's not work, man. It's not a lot of work.
So this is my pastor, the one of the founders of Portrait Coffee, John O. Me and Jackie, we moved in a trash area where we don't get to experience great coffee often. Not trash, not the area's trash, but the area's trash for coffee. Okay.
You made it seem like a trash area. I've been in a house ain't in a trash area.
When it comes to coffee, so John was gonna teach me how to make authentic coffee, bougie coffee. That's good. That we
Regular, dog. Good, man. If you gonna drink coffee, just make sure that it's good. Dog. Don't take work.
And then we're gonna put y'all on Portrait Coffee and let y'all know what that's about.
Dog.
So teach me.
Alright, so the first thing that you're gonna want to do is what's called the bloom, right?
Okay.
So after you grind beans have CO2 trapped in them. So I'm gonna start the timer, and then the first thing that I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna start and I'm gonna pour. And my thing is, man, I just wanna wet these beans. Pour twice as much water in it, and you see how all that stuff's starting to bubble. Yeah. Flavors and stuff are trapped in the beans, and so the main thing that you want to do is you want to let all of that
All the
gas
flavors,
and stuff escape. Yep.
Yeah, it smells great.
Yeah, dog. So.
And you just wait for each drop, like to just.
Nah, so I'm gonna pour this first, and my goal is trying to get all the gas and stuff out of it.
Okay.
So for the first 45 seconds, I'm gonna let it bloom, right?
It looks like a
So
brownie.
it's flatter it blooms, start rising.
Now, man, tell me about Portrait Coffee, because when I remember when you sat down with me and Jackie, and told us about the idea. We were just so impressed by the vision of it, the direction of it, just the long-term goals, but also like you presented this beautiful story behind Portrait Coffee, why it was started. So talk about it.
Yeah, nah, man, it all started because I got into coffee maybe like 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And whenever I get into something like you saw the whole joint there, like I nerd out on it and I just want to learn.
Yeah.
Well, like as I would like travel and go somewhere to speak, the first thing I would do when I would touch down is I would tweet out where are the best shops in town. So that's how I learned all these shops.
Yeah.
Well, when I walked into the shops, I never saw anybody that looked like me. So I walked in all these shops, and all I see are these bearded white dudes with flannels and too tight pants that are rolled up.
And a lot of them make great coffee.
Right, that was great. But it's like every time I walked in, it felt like I walked out on a golf course, and I'm just like, I guess this is a white man's game, right? So maybe I'm the Tiger Woods of coffee. Well, then I start to read history, and I find out, coffee doesn't even grow on European soil. Like, coffee grows where black and brown folks grow.
Wow.
So it was 800 AD. Some Ethiopian goat herder has his goats out on the side of a mountain, and looks up one day, and his goats are just wild, and he looks and he finds out that they ate this cherry. So he picks it up, finds out, I can roast the little pit of this little pit. Coffee's not a bean, it's the pit of a fruit. I can roast this little pit, grind it up, and it can make you stay up. Rumor has it that the next people to get it were monks. That as monks traveled through, they found out that they had this drink that could help them stay up when they're supposed to be praying all through the night. Right?
That's crazy.
So then it starts here in Africa, then it spreads throughout the world, and then there's this dude out of Memphis, Bartholomew Jones, Coffee Black, and he just has excellent insight on how the transatlantic slave trade was major factor in uprooting, stealing this industry, bring it over to the state. And so it's like I go back and I read all of this stuff and I find out, wait a minute, whoa. There's not a lot of folks that look like us that are in this scene, but it's like, this is ours.
When you search the history, like black
this is
people.
ours.
Yeah.
So then our mindset was, yo, I think we need to like labor to try to change the picture that comes to folks' minds when they think of specialty coffee.
Wow.
All right, now what I'm gonna do, here, I'm just starting in the middle. I'm just gonna pour slowly in concentric circles. So just
concentric circle. Boy, you so fancy.
Hey man, man, I went to college, man. I got a master's.
Fancy Negro.
Trying to get a doctorate.
I hear you.
All right,
educated black man.
And that's it. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pour 100 grams at a time, and I'm gonna let it, fall. And so about every 30 seconds, I'm gonna come back in and pour. So now I'm hitting 120. I'm gonna pour, and then what you see here, dog, you see all these little beans trying to get away from the party. Dog. I call them the introverts. You gotta go around and make sure that they are, come and join. Same. I'm gonna let it drip down until 150. Preston. That's literally it. It's not science, though. It's not hard. I'm just trying to watch this time.
But what's all that? Okay, so if that's it, I want to know what's all this other stuff that got you here looking like the dude from Breaking Bad.
I got you.
Because is this because you said this is the most consistent way to make coffee, but will it give me the best coffee possible?
It gives you a good cup. Each method brings out certain things, right? So this is gonna be harder. Because it all comes down through one.
It doesn't have 3 holes. It just
it's got one.
Yeah.
So one of the things is you're gonna have to make sure that you're like even with your pour. That if you're heavy-handed and you like pour really hard or not slow, if your pours are inconsistent, then you could mess up on that cup where you wouldn't really mess up.
Gotcha.
Here. And so all I'm gonna do is pour. Right, and so I mean the main thing is, all right, grind size of the beans, right? I want to make sure I have the right grind size. Temperature of the water, right?
Clean water.
Clean water, and ratio.
Right. But you also want to make sure you grind the beans at a consistent.
Yeah, and so it's like, all right, beans.
You're making it sound real easy, man.
It's super easy, right? So
if I get home and it's coffee trash, I'm gonna be real disappointed. I'm trying to make it.
Smell it.
No, that smells great. God has been blessing Portugal coffee.
Yeah.
I've been seeing it everywhere. And it's crazy because it's this beautiful story about how black people started on the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
But in the city of Atlanta, so many, white people, black people love it, not just because of the story, but because of the excellence of the coffee.
Yeah.
So how did you guys know Portugal coffee would be something special? And
team. Yeah. It's all about team. So it was maybe 3 years ago in the church, or 3 years ago, me and Chandra are in Spain, and we just kind of talk about the next phase, what we want to do with life, and we just come to the conclusion we think we need to start a shop here in town, right? Mm-hmm. But then we come back, and one of the conclusions that we come to is there's so much that we don't know about this that if it's really going to be done well, it's going to be a full-time thing. I'm going to quit my job, go get a job as a barista and learn and start. And so it felt like we knew there was something, but we just said, hey, we've really got to pray that God would bless us with the right team.
Yeah.
And so then through the church, we met Aaron Fender and his wife, and he'd been in coffee since 2012. So he had an aspect of stuff that we didn't know. And Marcus and their family. And so we just felt like probably about a year ago, we sat down and looked, and we were surrounded by just this team that was so diverse and was really like all these spectrums of blackness.
Yeah.
And so we just felt like, yo, let's just start and see what God does. And man, every meeting that we had, each time we told the story, people was like, there's something. Yeah. One of the things that folks do, man, is they make it, people make it seem like you gotta be a rocket scientist, yo.
I'm gonna let you do it. You probably pour it a certain way, you know.
With my left hand. Yeah.
Sounds great, man. What is this thing right here?
All right.
This little cup.
So that's a cup. Yeah, it's got a little weight at the bottom. Ember makes it, and it's a thing where it's like on your phone you can select the temperature that you want to keep your.
Oh, that's dope.
Join that. So all morning, you pour it in a cup, and I can make sure that my coffee doesn't cool too.
From your phone.
From my phone.
You hot tech over here, cuz.
That's it, man.
So like, I can see how somebody can like look at this conversation, look at this video, and say, well, why does everything have to be so pro-black, right? Why does everything have to be so, talk about how important black representation is.
Yeah.
And you're a pastor who have, a lot of black church members, a lot of white church members, deep relationships with white and black, but you're also this man who's very passionate about coffee, but also very passionate about the history of this coffee. It's just as important, right?
Yeah.
So tell me why you're so passionate about the history, and also why black representation is so important.
So, and I think that those two things go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Why pro-black? Because as I gave that little geography lesson, right, of what goes on, one of the things that you have to sit with is, man, geography is not an accident. Geography is never a coincidence, right? There are things that have intentionally been done in this country to hold back black and brown folks.
Speak on it. Tell me.
So it's like this, all right? And so like, let's just go history.
Yeah.
After slaves are freed, they say, yo, slaves, y'all can have your own banks. So for the first time, y'all can work and get paid. And then when you get paid, have your own banks. You can't put your funds in our banks, but slaves, you can put your funds in your own banks.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They worked and they worked and they worked and they saved in these banks. Banks are not meant to be piggy banks. They're not just meant to hold money, right? If you and I are at the same bank and we put our money in the bank, then the bank is supposed to responsibly grow money.
Yeah.
And then when I come back and say, I want to borrow to be able to buy a house, banks hold money, banks grow money, and then banks loan money.
Yeah.
Here's what took place. Slaves are free. They're given this promise of land, land, land. If you'll just save, don't gamble. They put all their money in these bank. The people that owned the bank, do you know what they did? Gambled their money on railroads. And so when the railroad bubble burst, half of all black wealth was gone.
Wow.
Everybody knew who did it. And do you know what black folks got?
What?
A condolence card. Sorry for your loss. We're gonna move on. So it's like, that's right after slavery, right? So it's like, then like, yeah, things continue to go on, and then, so it's like, black folks couldn't get loans from the bank to be able to buy a home, which is the normal way that Americans have created wealth, right? So now, like, geography is not an accident.
Yeah.
Black folks can't buy homes. White folks are provided these loans to buy homes.
Yeah.
So you have these all-white communities where income can grow.
And they've been able to accumulate wealth over history.
Yeah.
History.
Fam, and then it's like, then black folks are disadvantaged. So say they do want to get into an industry that white folks are in. What takes place is that my product is half as good, but I have to charge twice as much.
Wow.
So even if I'm trying to get black folks to support me, black folks that are poor can't support me because what they say is, I can't afford to buy your $2 cup of coffee, all I can afford is to buy this $1 cup of coffee. So do you know how black people then have to make their wealth? They have to make their wealth in industries where white people won't touch. And so that's hair or, and this is that part, funeral homes.
Wow.
That white people were okay to lynch black bodies. They just were too good to bury them. So then you had these black folks that stepped in, and imagine the trauma that goes just to say, man, in order for me to be able to make wealth, to provide opportunities for my people, I have to enter industry of black death. Like, wow. And it's like but in like, and you can go on and on and on and on and on, and what you see is at every stage of history, it's not that it's not that the United States has been neutral to black people, right? For the past 400 years, the United States has been anti-black. So it's like, that's why we need to be pro-black, right? That's why it's not just enough for black folks to try to buy black, but if the country won't come alongside and right their wrongs, and it's the obligation of our white brothers and sisters who have a conscience that our country doesn't, to come and support. And the crazy thing is that's what we've seen in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And just I think America is such a sensitive time in America,
right?
With the death of George Floyd, Shaw Brooks, and all of these black people who were killed unjustly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been awakened to the injustices of this country, which is kind of sad. They've always kind of been here. And the reason why I think portrait coffee is so important is because if you look at the history of this country, history has always been important.
Right. Yeah.
We've always put our bank and our money on the things of the past.
Oh, yeah.
When we look at black history, our history isn't as beautiful in a lot of people's lives, right? And a lot of times people want us to forget about our history when it comes to slavery, or just say forgive. Yeah. But you talk about righting your wrongs. Like when I went to, you talk about coffee, being grown in Africa. When I went to Rwanda, if you know anything about Rwanda, one of the most horrible genocides in modern history. Yeah. And when I went and talked to the Hutu and the Tutsi tribe people, one of the reasons why I feel like that country has had a lot of reconciliation period, is because the government made it so intentional to tear down anything that reminded the Tutsi people of the Hutu supremacy. Right? Yeah. So now you have reconciliation camps all over, the country of Rwanda. Yeah. And these people who had mothers and fathers and grandfathers who were slaughtered by particular people, they can live in harmony. Yeah. But you look in America, and we still have statues of slave owners and statues of colonizers, and then you think that we're supposed to just ignore it, you know? And I think so. The reason why I love portrait coffee is because it's a beautiful ode to Black history. Amen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But also, it tells us that this thing that America has made so much money off of, I know, that Black people, it grew where Black people came from, which is beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
No, it gives you a sense of like pride, like, this is ours, right? Yeah. So the drink that fuels the world, the drink that fuels the people that stayed up all night to make your favorite movie is ours. The drink that fueled your favorite author to write that book that you love is like ours, right? Yeah. So there's this strange sense in which like Black creativity has a hand in everything. And that's a thing where it's like, that is a thing that we should take pride in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You made me proud. I want to drink coffee. Toast to that. Alright, so I'm gonna taste this. If I
taste it black first, right? best cup of coffee. Prop says this all the time. Man, the best cup of coffee is the one that you like, right? So,
okay.
Yeah. Taste it first.
Because Prop gave me some coffee one time, and I was like, I don't like this.
Now,
it's good.
Yeah, it may not be like. So it's like.
It doesn't taste
people
burnt.
talk about and when folks talk about the like fruit notes that they taste, like don't think like
strawberry
juice, right? No. think strawberry LaCroix, right?
LaCroix. What is LaCroix?
No. You know those like fancy sparkling waters that it's so they smell like it and you taste it and
it's really subtle.
Yeah, the taste is like somebody's whispering in the next room. Yeah, flavored it, right?
All right,
so
that's, so I'm gonna try to taste it again. I do.
Hey, all right,
I feel bougie now.
Don't expect juice. This ain't juice, right?
It's good. I still want some cream though.
Okay, I got you. I got you.